good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Hi, Deb. I see Bradley, Dean, Deb. We've got our guest of honor, Lynn, and hi, everyone. We're welcoming everybody in. Hi, Brian, and hi, Charlene, and Cammie, Candy. I see Shane. Hi, Shane. How you doing? Link is in there. Hi, Christy. Nice, everyone. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you again.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sharon. Okay, we're going to let everybody in. We're still admitting people in to our Zoom room. We've got Kim and Janie joining us. Welcome in, everybody. And we've got our good friend Read AI Meeting Notes in as well. Again, we'll kick Read AI Meeting Notes out. Good to see everyone. Welcome to Life Amplified. Hi. All right, we are live on Zoom. We are also live on TikTok. Hi, TikTok friends. Welcome to our behind the scenes. And welcome to all of you for our next session of Life Amplified. I'm Jennifer. I'm the Executive Director for Amputee Aid. This is Emily. Hi, Emily. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Emily, social worker.
Yes, and Amputee Aid is the sponsor for Life Amplified, which, as many of you know, is a weekly get-together. We learn a lot, we laugh a lot, we share information every single Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Zoom and TikTok, live, supporting the limb loss and limb difference community, whether you are someone with limb loss or limb difference, if you are a supporter or an ally like us, a family member like us, you just want to learn more, healthcare providers, anyone and everyone is welcome to join us, and we are very, very glad to see you all. Now, Lucha was behind the screens. He's going to watch and admit folks as they come into our Zoom room. For those of you who are our friends who come every week, you know what I'm about to say next, which is, hi, how are you? Say hi in the comments. Tell us where you're coming to us from and how the weather is. We are located here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Amputee Aid is a 501c3 nonprofit located in Pittsburgh, but serving folks all over the country. So whether you're with us here in Pennsylvania, if you're way across the country in California, up in Alaska, down in Hawaii, you know what, even outside the country, we've got some friends outside the country in Canada and beyond. We would love to work with you. If you're not already working with us, just go to our website, click the little blue Get Help button, and you'll be connected to me and to Emily, and we can talk to you about any and all of your needs, whether it's financial support, social support, case management, you need someone to negotiate your bill for you, or you just want to be connected to a mentor, we'd love to meet with you. So we've got Ontario in the house, Chicago in the house. I know we've got some Texas friends, New York. Hi, New York. You know, we've got folks from all over the country. We love to see where you are. And we're going to do something a little extra special with our introductions. If you've got some good news, tell me something good. If you know that song from the 70s, if you don't, Google it later. Put some good news in. I would love to know some good news from people. We have some good news here in the Pittsburgh area, and that is that it's finally warming up. It's a little bit cold, but we're like digging out of the snow, and you can feel the sun in the spring coming. All right. We've also are planning now for our mixer in April 6th. If you're in the area, or if you can come to the area, come and say hi. In May, we're doing a Pittsburgh Marathon, and some of the money is coming to our charities. Now, I see Kim's got her hand up, and I'm glad that she does, because I didn't want to share her good news, but I already know what it is. So, Kim, tell us your good news, and then we'll continue on with our introductions.
Yes, as some of you know, I wrote a few articles for Amplitude last year, and yesterday, I had an interview with OP editor and Amplitude editor, because Larry's stepping down, and so two other beautiful women are taking that. And they offered me a part-time permanent writing position. Wow. So I will be contributing at least 4 articles a month and getting paid for it.
Yay!
And I'm excited. So, but here's the thing. I need all of you to send me as many of your ideas of what you'd like to see in the magazine or even on the website when we do the weekly newsletter.
Hey.
Please.
Okay.
Looking for ideas you want to know more about.
Congratulations, Kim. And honestly, I chose this topic as we're getting started because of you, and I was hoping you were going to say something so I didn't have to give your good news for you. Put your email in the chat. Lots of you know Kim, but for those of you who don't or don't have her email, put your email in the chat, and then if you have content ideas, send it to Kim, because I've already got some I'm thinking of mentally that I can send it to you. So congratulations, Jamie, 3-year anniversary Friday. Woohoo! And I see a lot of people celebrating the sunny. Dean in Miami, 73.
Oh, wow.
Nice there. We got some wide temperature ranges and some good news. So keep sharing your good news. We love that. And for us, some good news today is we are doing part 1 of a 2-part finale on Prosthetics 101 month. Next week, part 2 is a bonus session with Caroline Calabrese from Union OP, a prosthetist, who will be here for an extra long session, 90 minutes, talking all things fitting related. But part part one, the kickoff, is Lynn DeCola from Lifelong Prosthetics, who is our special guest, and we have been waiting for this. I'm so glad that Lynn was agreeable to be our guest speaker. So Lynn, hang out for a minute. We're going to get to you, but we got to do our background information first, and then we're going to spend most of our time in this hour talking with Lynn, the expert, the revered, the amazing Lynn DeCola is in our Zoom room, is going to give us all of her expertise. So congratulations. We're so happy to have you. Okay, kicking us off well for the end of Prosthetics 101 month. All right, basic background information and a little surprise. As many of you know, we are recording our session. So the recording will capture your voice. It does not capture your names. It does not capture all of your beautiful faces and icons that we can see. TikTok, it doesn't capture you guys at all. If you want to get in on the game, go to our Zoom room. The information is on our page. You can find the code. For those of you watching us on Zoom, we will capture your voice. So if you're good with that, we're great with that. Just cut us off at any time and ask a question if you want to ask a question of Lynn or of us. We would love to hear from you and have you participate live with us. But just know that your voice will be on a recording that goes onto YouTube every single Friday. Hi, YouTube friends watching our recording. Share in the chat your good news and where you're coming to us from too. If you don't want your voice recorded, that's okay too. Put your comment or your question in the chat. We will try to read as many of them as we can. Between myself, with Emily, and with Lucho, our helper behind the screen, we'll try to capture those questions and comments. But we would love to hear from you live too, so please don't hesitate to come off of mute at any point in time. We have reserved some time at the end of our conversation with Lynn for some questions and answers, but please don't wait. If you want to talk about something, just put your hand up or don't. Just come off of mute and ask your question. Third reminder is this is a safe space. So this is not maybe the space to ask very detailed personal medical questions or financial questions. Those are all very, very important. We want to hear from you on those. But those are probably things you'd want to talk to us separately, or if you're working with Lynn or interested in working with Lynn, you're going to connect with her and have those private conversations because we are recording it. And if you're anything like me, I don't necessarily want my financial information and my medical information all over the internet, right? So just be aware of that. Also be aware that this is a respectful space. We want to avoid conversations that might be particularly offensive or charged, emotionally charged, because we want this to be an inviting space for everyone to learn and to feel good about being here and not be offended in any way. All right, everybody good with that? I see heads shaking yes. All right, final reminder, and then we're going to introduce our guest speaker. We're doing a giveaway today. Yay! We love giveaways. So not only are we sharing good news and good weather, we are doing a giveaway. All right. So we got a donation, actually a pretty big donation, of all different kinds of coffees from a company called Purity Coffee. If you don't know about Purity Coffee, look them up online and we'll share their information with our recording on Friday. Purity Coffee has high-end and health-balanced coffees, which I did not know there was such a thing, to be honest with you all. But they have coffee that promotes your digestive health, coffee that promotes your emotional health, antioxidant-based coffee, decaffeinated coffee, all kinds of things from Purity Coffee. And we are going to give away a big gift basket of Purity Coffee. Now, if you win and you're not a coffee drinker, that's okay. Give it away. Re-gift it. All right. But Lucho behind the screen is going to take the names down of everyone who's attending with us live. You've got to be here at the end of the hour at 3:00 Eastern time in order to win, and we will draw a winner. TikTok friends, if you want in on this raffle, you've got to go over to the Zoom room so we can capture your name and stay with us to the end of the hour. Okay, so we're giving away some Purity Coffee at the end of our session. And as we say, we try to do as many giveaways as we can to kind of sprinkle them out throughout our sessions. So stay tuned for more, but that's what we're doing today. So hopefully that will entice you to stick around. But I know our conversation with Lynn will, because people have been anticipating this. At the end of the year, we asked for comments and topic ideas, and lots of people said, can you please have Lynn DeCola on? And she said yes. Okay, so we've been waiting. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host and co-worker, Emily. Emily's going to tell us a little bit about Lynn, and then we'll get started.
All right, so Miss Lynn DeCola, an amputee coach and advocate whose work is guided by both professional and lived experience. After a 1993 motorcycle accident, she spent years navigating recovery before learning she had been living with PTSD and a TBI that went undiagnosed for 25 years, an experience that shaped her passion for early evaluation and compassionate care. So with more of 30 years of not only experience as a prosthetic leg user, but also a prosthetist, she offers personalized coaching and resources to help amputees reach their goals, improve mobility, and build confidence. She's committed to empowering individuals to take charge of their care and thrive in their daily lives.
Yay. Welcome, Lynn. We'd love
Welcome,
to
Lynn.
have you come off of mute. We're going to ask you some questions. Now, we do have some questions prepared. We tried to like the things to go organically, but we had so much we wanted to go over with Lynn that we wrote some down. But as we're going along, anyone, if you have comments or questions, please share them. And while we're getting started and kind of meeting you, Lynn, sidebar, I saw a comment here from Al Bradley Schwartz. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being in our Zoom room. And we'd love to connect with you separately to learn more about you and maybe have you on as a guest speaker. Okay? So thank you for that. Lucha will grab your information. Lynn, thank you so much for agreeing to be on Life Amplified. It's really important to us in particular because you are helping us with our mission of promoting and being a strong community together. And so when we have someone who's not only from the community, but has a business that supports the community, who's willing to come on our session and be with us, it means a lot because we want to uplift and support each other and share resources. So thank you very much. Let me see some rounds of applause and some heart emojis and all that stuff. Light up the screen for Lynn. Thank you very much, Lynn, for being on our webinar today. If we could start, Lynn, by maybe you introducing yourself, as well as your business, Lifelong Prosthetics, and kind of giving us your background story, and so we could know a little bit more about you.
Well, I really appreciate Emily's intro because she kind of covered everything that I had written down.
Sorry.
So maybe we should have communicated sooner because I wanted to just bring out that, every amputee has a story and each is important. Today, I wanted to share my story because I want people to know why I am so passionate about helping amputees. So I don't know if you still want me to go over my
We
story.
do.
Because, okay.
Let's hear
So
it
I'm
in
just
your own
gonna-
words. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my own words are written on notes.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead, but I really appreciate and value everything that you're doing, and I appreciate you bringing me on.
Thank you.
Everyone who's joined today.
Yeah.
So with that said, I became an amputee in 1993 after a motorcycle accident. Before my amputation, I went through multiple limb salvage surgeries, okay, because of infections. So that was one of them. I had osteomyelitis, and I'm sure there's a lot of amputees here who have gone through the same thing. So about 5 months into the limb salvage surgeries, my surgeon told me we could do 10 or 21 more, but he wasn't sure whether I'd ever be able to bend my knee or be in pain or eventually face amputation anyway. So at that point, I chose amputation. So I'm actually a right above the knee amputee. After receiving my first prosthesis, I went to rehab, inpatient rehab, and then I went to a work hardening program to return to work. And I worked as a courier for Airborne Express, delivering packages, which I loved being out of the road. On the road, I love the freedom of driving.
Yeah.
So, after going through the program, my doctor released me with a 20-pound weight limit restriction because he was afraid I'd hurt my back.
Got it.
So with that said, the company didn't take me back because they wanted me to lift 80 pounds. So anyway, I kind of got depressed because, I wasn't returning to what I wanted to do with my normal everyday life that I had before my amputation. So I went to my prosthetist for a follow-up, and I told him what happened. And he said, why don't you come in and see what I do? And that changed my life.
Wow. Just one person saying, why don't you just come in and see?
One person, yes. Just one person. So, excuse me. It's difficult telling my own story.
It's okay.
I can listen to everybody else's story all the time.
Yeah. Let's take it in because it's such an impactful thing. Someone says, hey, just come and take a look. And what a major change that was for you because someone offered that to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I began shadowing him, and that was it. I fell in love with it. So, excuse me. I went on to work.
It's okay. No,
Okay,
take your
a
time.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I started getting emotional before,
Okay.
but this is where my passion comes from.
Yes.
To help others, because I don't want others going through losing their job or, have unreasonable expectations. So, anyway, and my mom's here too. So
Your mom. Hi, Mom.
that's emotional.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know I've worked with patients in wound care. Hopefully I'll get my voice back. Wound care clinics, hospitals, rehabs, and home settings, all while learning to live as an amputee myself.
Yes.
So there was no one to help me on my job, having to go to patients' homes, carry my supplies, their supplies, my tools. So this is all a learning experience. In 2004 is when I was diagnosed with PTSD, and it wasn't until 2018 that I was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. So once I was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, it really made sense of some of the things that I had gone through, all those years.
Yeah.
So anyway, what shaped my coaching most, to get to that question, is lived experience and active listening. So I kept hearing throughout my career, amputees, myself and others, having the same problems: socket fit, suspension, alignment, skin problems, pain in the remaining limb, upper extremity pain, and also back pain. So what I do as a coach is I help people navigate the system from pre-op to lifelong adaptations. So including organizing their history. Most of the amputees on here who do come to our Zoom, they know I'm always like, write things down. Anything changes. You add a sock, you take a sock off, you have pain. Document all of that yourself and then hand it to your provider. It's so important because that's going to be your history if you need a new prosthesis or adjustments or other replacements.
Yes.
So very, very important. So just with that said, I offer one-on-one coaching, and I have 3 different types of Zooms.
Okay.
For different reasons, for education, communication, and self-advocacy.
Got it.
So that's what I'm all about, besides having my own, company that does personal one-on-one coaching. Everybody because there's a lot of people here who come. So, that's what we do. We all help each other, and we know we're all valuable because we have different reasons why we lost our limbs.
Yeah.
And different situations at home, different work requirements. So it's just so valuable to be part of a group like Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life.
Yes. Yeah. And Lynn, if we can, I want to go back to, if you're willing to do this, because I think it's so impactful to share. If you can go back to these 2 defining moments for you. One is making the decision for amputation. And then the second, that job loss. What I'm hearing is this very heavy, alone feeling. And it sounds like that was one of the things that drove you to be a coach, is that you don't want other people to have the alone feeling that you had. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So choosing amputation, I feel it was almost an easy decision because it had been 5 months of me in an external fixator, with my leg out, not being able. I needed help. I was on a bed in the house, in the living room, and I could only transfer to the commode with help. So, right there, I couldn't get out. I had that feeling of I was resentful and thankful that people were helping me, and I didn't understand that whole concept at the time. Now I understand it. But it was like I was so resentful because I couldn't do things on my own and I was relying on others.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, the amputation was if I had woken up and my leg was gone, I think, there would have been a little different situation.
Yeah.
But because I was part of the surgeries, making decisions, I felt confident with the amputation decision.
Yeah.
And then the other one was
your job loss, that you went through this program and like, I'm working, I love working, I love traveling and doing, and then you lose that job. That sounds like another moment where you're alone and looking for help, and you didn't have someone to kind of guide you through the process, other than your prosthetist, who turned out to be a life-changing, partner for you.
Exactly. So leading up, going to the work hardening program, I was so excited. I was doing great in it, and then not getting to that, because that was my last thing that I needed to get to be back to before the amputation and motorcycle accident. So that was the last thing that was, my goal.
Yeah.
So when I didn't reach that, it just, I fell apart. I ended up going to therapy, mental health therapy. That's when I didn't get diagnosed with anything then except depression. But I ended up going to the same therapist who I met at rehab. And I told he wanted to know how I was after amputation. I'm like, I'm fine. Just like I'm telling you, I'm like, I was able to make my own decisions, which was, amazing to be part of the process of limb salvage. But then later on, after I lost my job, and I also lost my partner at the time. So it's like those two reasons, I seeked out the actual therapist who I met at rehab, and I started seeing him outside and his personal clinic.
Yeah. And one theme I'm hearing from you, Lynn, and I'm wondering if you can tie this into the work that you do, is the power of advocating for yourself and really looking for resources and opportunities. And so, for example, you mentioned that your diagnosis with your TBI wasn't until 2018. It was long after. And so, part of our theme for this month, Prosthetics 101, is learning the art of advocating for yourself. And so I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about, one, how you advocated for yourself in your care, but two, how a coach can help folks, amputees, advocate for their care. Can you talk about those things?
Well, advocating your care, you would not believe, even myself, and I'll just share, just recently, I had a hospitalization for a month. I was misdiagnosed because they weren't listening to me as the patient, and I talked their talk. So it's very difficult, even for me, when you're in a hospital bed in a hospital gown, for someone to respect that you have knowledge. So amputees, I would say you need someone with you, whether it's a friend, a relative. You need someone who can write things down and document, So as long as being a coach, a private coach, I also, through our Zooms, I want amputees to be able to advocate for themselves as much as they can. Bring a family member, bring somebody with you to all of these appointments. It's, and I'm not going to say go out there and advocate for yourself. It's very difficult to be heard.
And so I'm hearing kind of like 3 tips up front, one of which is, advocating for yourself and learning, going to webinars like Lynn's, and we'll talk in a minute about how they get involved, educating yourself and advocate. But number 2, bringing somebody with you, a support person who can hear and can listen and reflect, repeat back, take notes that maybe you're missing out on. And the third one, Lynn, that you said early on, which I love this idea, is write down everything. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that? Like almost as if it's a daily journal. How many socks did I use? What was the ply of the sock? How did my limb feel? Did I have a skin infection? Was I even able to wear my device? Talk to us a little bit about other tips or suggestions that you have for folks, whether they're new amputees or maybe even later on in their journey.
Yeah, I have everybody write anything down. We have these phones now, which my notes were on, which did nothing for me today. But, there's everybody, most people have a smartphone. So just document things, put it into the calendar, put it on the notepad that's in there. Write it if you're used to writing on paper, everything. You get up in the morning, does something hurt? I have people feel their limb before they put their liner on, before they put their prosthesis on, to see if there's any changes in the way it feels, from no prosthesis, no liner, to donning a liner and donning the prosthesis. Because sometimes there's nothing wrong with our residual limbs. It comes to either the liner might be too tight, may not be able to don correctly, or the prosthesis is the problem. So those are my tips, just writing things down, talking to your phone. You could just dictate.
Yes. I was just thinking that someone who might have an upper extremity amputation, if they're not able to write, dictate into your phone, ask a friend or a family member or your partner to write down for you or keep a record for you. And then it sounds like, Lynn, one thing you're suggesting is take your notes to your prosthetist appointment, right? There's your record of everything. Even things,
Absolutely.
It seems to me, Lynn, even things that you might not think are important, but they might show a pattern, right? So it just write it all down and make it a daily habit. At the end of the day, maybe after dinner or whenever you want to do it, just write down what you're doing. Then you have that record. I love that idea. I love that idea. I want to pause for a moment because thank you, Tracy. Tracy put in the chat for us, and we'll share this information with our recording too, some of the information relating to your Zooms. But Lynn, I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about the meetings that you have, how regularly you have them, where people find information, how they can join, that kind of thing.
Okay, so the group is called Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life. We have a Zoom meeting on Sundays, which is a casual event, and I don't want to say it's a free-for-all, but amputees are welcome to, we just socialize or people bring questions. And the group is so mixed with different types of people from different areas. We have people from the States, people from Canada, above knee, below knee, partial foot, upper extremity. It's just a great mix of people, and everyone supports each other. And I'm always learning from the group. And that says a lot because I've been an amputee for almost 33 years.
Yeah.
So we have that. Then on Monday nights, I attempt to have a speaker come who talks about prosthetics, anything amputee related, skin care, skin lotions. We had somebody on last night for custom sockets, adjustable sockets. We've had people for custom covers, cosmetic covers. So just trying to show amputees what's out there and available. And then they can bring it to their prosthetist and talk to their prosthetist about it.
Yeah. And
so then I have I'm sorry. I have those two meetings are under Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life. But then we also have Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life, single leg, above knee amputees, which is what I am. Okay. So I kind of have more of a niche for that.
Yeah.
I could talk to all amputees of all levels, but lower limb is what I've done throughout my career. And being an above knee amputee, we started this one group on it. There's a meeting tomorrow, Thursdays at 2 p.m. Wonderful. So I can send out and share the information on that.
Please do. If someone's watching our recording or they're on our TikTok channel and they're wondering, where do I find this information? Do they go to your website, or do you have a social media group, or where would they go to find out more information about your sessions?
They can go on Facebook. That's where Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life and the Single Leg Above Knee group are. Okay. So they can join there. But I write a lot of posts. I don't know if anybody noticed. So when I write posts, I always have that at the bottom as well. Yes. The contact information. Even on LinkedIn, I also share.
Yes. If you all are not following Lynn and her company on social media, you need to. You are missing out. Lynn does a wonderful job sharing content and information. So please go. And Lisa put the Facebook link on our chat. Thank you for doing that, Lisa. One of the things I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute, so everybody prepare yourselves. One of the things I really, really enjoy about your group, Lynn, is Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life. In other words, it's all about sharing from a lived experience perspective, which is so, so, so important, and something that we will admit here at Amputee Aid. I am not an amputee, right? Emily is not an amputee. We are allies. I have a family member who's a bilateral amputee, but we understand and appreciate that we will never know what it's like to live as an amputee, which is why it's so important to have partners, mentors, other support groups, and coaches who can speak not only talk the talk that the experts talk, but really understand it because they've lived it. Lynn, can you talk a little bit more about that, about why lived experience is important?
Well, lived experience, most of us, we get a limited amount of rehab post-surgery. Some of us get to go to, an outpatient or may have some, inpatient or at-home therapy, but it's very limited. And it's hard to justify more sessions. So having a group that has lived experience, we all had to figure things out on our own. There's a lot. We all live in different types of homes. Some of us have handrails. Some of us have steps. Some of us have uneven ground just to get once you park the car. Some of us can't drive because we're right amputees. And it's like, so having a group that is filled with people with different experiences is so valuable because we can pick up things that are safe.
Yes. Yes. Whatever you do, don't just Google or chat GPT. What do? You want to talk to someone who's tried and maybe even failed and learned, right, before you go down the same path. Here at Amputee Aid, we see ourselves as a convener of that information, and having folks like you, Lynn, who can say, listen, do this, don't do that. This is what I know in my 30 plus years is so critical. I see Deb has her hand up. So Deb, I would love to hear from you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to kind of give accolades to Lynn. I have used her as a coach, and it has been so beneficial. My journey began in 2022 when I had to make the decision of amputation or an external fixator. So I Googled external fixator. I knew I really couldn't do that. So I looked into amputation and I found her Facebook group, thankfully.
Yeah.
Just staying on her Facebook group, not even attending the Zooms right away, I learned that there are many other amputees out there and they are functional. They can walk, they can get around, even with assisted devices and everything. So I opted for the amputation. That was the best thing for me at the time. And then I started joining the Zooms. And the first prosthetic I got did not fit properly. And it was through advice from the Zooms where I learned I needed a new prosthetic. And to get that, I think it was my that one, or it might have been my third one. I apologize for not remembering properly. I went to my doctor telling her I needed a new prosthetic, and she had to write up a script. She had no idea what to do. So she said, well, what does it need to say? And I said, well, let me find out.
Right.
I hired Lynn. Lynn wrote up this letter with so much verbiage in there explaining exactly what I needed. First, she did an assessment on me. Then she wrote up this letter. Yeah. I gave that letter to my doctor. My doctor gave that letter to the insurance company, and the insurance company approved the new prosthetic.
There you go. So, perfect example.
That's kind of how it works. She's worth every penny. Yeah. And with that, I've just learned so much. She taught me, again, through the Zoom group, how to get up from a fall. And I thought, okay, well, I maybe need it one day. And I did. I was home alone one day and I fell. And so what do I do?
Yeah.
And I just remembered stuff from the group, and I was able to get up, with confidence. But I don't want to fall again.
Right.
And I've used her a couple of times as at the coaching level, and she's become very valuable to me.
Yeah. Deb, thank you for sharing that. And I think those are two good examples of where a coach can be helpful. And Lynn, I'm going to ask you in a little bit more about kind of the day-to-day of being a coach. But Deb, thank you for sharing that, which is, first, I'm just imagining if you're in your healthcare provider's office and they ask you, well, what should the document say? I don't know. I didn't go to 30 plus years of medical school and everything else. You tell me, right? But you have another expert, someone with lived experience and who does this full time, who could help you. And what I'm sure that made all the difference, right? With avoiding an insurance appeal and avoiding the back and forth and more evaluations, right, Deb?
Completely. Because if I didn't have Lynn, I wouldn't have gotten it.
Right.
Because my doctor would have said she needs a new leg. And
yeah.
like, okay, well, what are they going to do with that?
Yeah. Or related to that, I'm wondering, for those of you attending live or on YouTube, you can put yes in the chat. How many of you have heard something along the lines of, that's the best we can do, right, with your prosthetic? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit well. Everyone has heard that. I see Deb, I see some hands going up. That's the best. You'll get used to it. That's normal. When you're like, I don't think it is, right? So having someone who can coach you and tell you, these are the questions you should ask, or here's what you should document, go in with your journal of notes, let's keep pressing forward, is literally life-changing. I see Christy has her hand up. Christy, if you had a question, we'd love to hear from you, and then we'll go back and ask Lynn some more questions. Oh, can we get you unmuted, Christy? We're going to try to get you unmuted. There you go. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hi. Thanks, Lynn. She has been awesome. She's helped me a lot. She knows that I have had problems bottoming out when I've had issues with that. She's also been with me with when I had issues with my I never wore a test socket for 3 months, and I had issues with that. And I still had some issues with some other problems, and I'm making my own decisions now. And I switched my prosthetic persons, and she is awesome, and she has helped me a great bunch. And I love her to death, and she's awesome.
Good. Thank you for sharing that, Christy. And I think that also goes to show why having a coach is so important, just to kind of validate how you're feeling. I wonder how many of you have had this feeling where you don't want to come across as the problem patient, so you just don't say anything, right? Or you start thinking like, is it me? Am I wrong here? Like, is there something wrong with me? And you don't necessarily have the confidence to speak up or advocate for yourself. And it sounds like, Christy, you were kind of feeling that way for a little bit.
Also, I also take too many notes. I have notebook paper, too many that I rewrite everything, and I have an amputee list somewhere that I need to rewrite and in a separate notebook, and it tells the whole story about my amputation and all this.
Yeah.
So I take a lot of notes.
Yeah. We'll send you a trapper keeper, like from the 90s. You can put all of them in there,
Yeah.
So Lynn, back to you. I'm wondering if, for folks who have never used a coach, if you can give us kind of a visual of what is it like? Like, how does one get a coach? And then what does a coach do? Does it depend on the problem? Is there like a regular routine, or give us a feel for that?
Yeah, so they can make a appointment with me. I have a 15-minute consultation, free consultation. Besides the Zoom groups, people are welcome to come on Zoom and ask questions on Sunday morning. But yeah, to hire a coach, what I do is, because I am a clinician, I take a full evaluation. I want to know, their life, where they live, what kind of place they have to navigate to get into their house, because a lot of us also, you leave your house one day and then you come back as an amputee, and now it's like a whole different house. You have to learn how to navigate safely. So, I find out what the problem is first. Like, is it a prosthetic problem? Are they getting pain? Is it a physical therapy problem? Is it a maybe home problem or work? But I evaluate. I have this gift since I had this motorcycle accident and amputation. I just have this gift of just being able to find out things very quickly and being able to see things. I could see things on, like right now, nobody's showing their legs, but
you can if you want.
I can see things very quickly. When somebody sends me a picture of, they could just stand their prosthesis against the wall and take a picture from the side and the front. And I'm like, okay, talk to your prosthetist about this. And some of that's done right in the free consultation or right on one of our Zooms. Yeah. If somebody needs something more in depth, then that's where my coaching comes in. And that's where the value is. I've worked in different states. I've worked in different settings. Like I said, I don't know if I said it, but I've worked at wound care clinics, because don't forget, I'm also an orthotist. So I've done things to prevent amputations
Okay.
by offloading shoes or diabetic shoes, diabetic inserts, toe fillers. I've done all of this. Knee braces, ankle braces, custom AFOs, custom KFOs.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't look at just the amputee and the amputated side.
Yeah.
I look at everything.
Yeah. And so it can be anywhere in the country. You don't have to be in the same state as Lynn. And it sounds like
Right.
a lot of your work is virtual. So if you're comfortable getting on a computer, you can do most of the work virtually too. Is that right, Lynn?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. Now,
I see Shane. Shane has a question. Shane, if you want to come off of mute, we'd love to hear from you.
So I don't have more of inquiry.
Okay.
So I thought this is news to me that I thought everybody got a specialty doctor for their amputation, which I have a rehab doctor who specializes in everything like this. So he's the one that writes the prescriptions and works with my prosthetist to get what I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of very surprised that she didn't have one, and they did not know what they were were going to. Her doctor didn't know what to give her. So maybe also another thing that if people don't have them is go back to their healthcare provider and ask if there's a specialty doctor that they can see also, which that's really surprised me just a minute ago.
Great.
I've been working with him since the hospital.
Great point, Shane. And I imagine, Lynn, in the work that you do, you've probably come across areas of the country or maybe people in rural areas where there is not a specialty doctor. There just doesn't exist. Is that right?
Well, honestly, it sounds like it's a physiatrist, a rehab doctor. And that doctor can prescribe everything from wheelchairs to prosthetics. I think they'll even do meds. They'll do diagnostic testing. So a physiatrist, if you have a physiatrist at the head of the class of your team, that is an excellent resource for you.
Yeah. And if you don't, or if you're somebody you're not able to contact on a regular basis, coaching can help. Coaching is available. It seems to be a little more accessible than just calling your doctor's office and having those more one-on-one conversations. Am I right about that, Lynn?
Well, coaching, which somebody said to me, it was a prosthetist. He said to me, the value of me is that I have time.
Yeah.
I have time to delve into everything. A physiatrist or a prosthetist, they really have to get into what their specialty is. Where I can take an amputee navigating the whole system, from pre-amp surgery all the way through their life on basic, everyday things.
Yeah, so time.
But a physiatrist is very valuable
Yeah.
at the head of the team.
Yeah.
It's a rehab doctor.
Yeah. And
Yes, that's who I have, a rehab doctor. But I am still blown away that not everybody has one, because I don't know how anybody can get through this without some guidance. And how do you know that there's coaches or rehab doctors that you can see? So that's amazing that's not something that's provided or given to everybody.
Good point. I wish
we have brought this up in our group, Amputees Preparing Amputees for Life. I think some people have gotten, a physiatrist from our group, after we've talked about it and suggested it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's another good example why, Lynn, going to those groups and learning from other people with lived experience is so important, because you find out what resources are available and what might be more suitable for you by learning from each other.
Exactly.
I see Jeff has a question. Go ahead, Jeff. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so thank you. Lynn, we share similar stories with the motorcycle accident and going through a number of years of painful surgeries, et cetera, But to follow up with what Shane was talking about, when I had my amputation done about 3.5 years ago, I was scheduled to go to an inpatient rehab facility, but the insurance company denied that. And it wasn't until that I got to my prosthetist that I began seeing a physiatrist. But I will tell you that my prosthetist actually worked with the physiatrist to write up the prescription for a new socket. He looked at her and asked her, what would the wording be for this? So, yes, a physiatrist is key, but your prosthetist is key. And it goes to the point of, Lynn, where you were talking about how important it is to advocate for yourself and to have somebody with you that may have a better understanding or is outside yourself to advocate for you as well.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll share the time.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, Jeff. The one thing I'm thinking, Lynn, and I wonder if you can comment on this, is that saying, you don't know what you don't know. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And there's another reason having a coach is so helpful, because you don't know what you don't know some of the time, or a lot of the time, right?
Yes, we say that all the time.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. And ideally, I just want to mention this. Ideally, we want people to come to our group. If they have a planned amputation, we want them in our group right then, before they get the amputation. This way, they're already ahead of the game, knowing what to expect. You know, what kind of questions to ask. You know, we've had somebody come in who didn't have a prosthesis yet. So they went to the appointment, they knew a lot. They knew what questions to ask.
Yeah.
You know, they understood what was going to happen as far as, you know, if they were going to get casted or have a shrinker or liner. You know, they knew things before they went. So that's really where we want the patient.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the patients, but we want people, if it's a planned surgery, to already, the doctors to, you know, send them to us, you know, as a support group, or any support group that's in their area.
Yeah.
So that they can start learning before the amputation happens.
That is so, so important. And there are lots of wonderful groups. Lynn's group is a great way to get that information. Look and find. There's places all over you can get help. You know, I saw, and then Lisa, we're going to come to you in a moment, but I saw Tracy's comment in the chat, and I wanted to go to this first. So thank you, Tracy, for pointing this out. Lynn, are we right that you can go to appointments with some of the folks that you coach as well? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've actually gone with a person in Canada. I was visiting up there, and I went to their appointment and was able to help as a coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I travel a little bit, but mostly I'll do in person, you know, closer to my home.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So, Lisa, let's hear from you, and then we'll hear from Sharon, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Lisa.
And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about what Tracy was saying as far as the in-person appointments. So Lynn has been my coach for years, and she's been going with me to every prosthetist office appointment via video, whether it's FaceTime or Zoom or Google Meet, you know. And we literally will prop the phone up and just rotate it so she can watch how I'm walking and make recommendations to my prosthetist throughout the appointment as far as adjustments that need to be made, which are dead on. And in fact, you know, and I just wanted to bring this up because we did talk a good bit about, you know, the prescriptions and the rehab doctor and all of that. Yeah. So I wanted to touch more on the office visits themselves and how vital that has been for my case. Yeah. Lynn, if I remember correctly, there was a point where my prosthetist had like a part of my leg actually on backwards that Lynn had to point out to her. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, what if Lynn hadn't been there? Like, I would have walked out of that office that day with my, you know, my part on backwards, and I would not have known, you know, so yeah, it's been vital for my care, and just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. And how easy it is, to have her just there on video during the appointment, every appointment. Probably for the last 3 years, we've been doing that.
Now, thank you for sharing that testimonial. And another good point to make is, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. But for Lynn, you might not have known that your part of your leg was backwards, right? I see Sharon. Sharon, you've got your hand up. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, Lynn, I've been to the webpage, but can you explain, does insurance cover your coaching services?
Question.
Okay, so for now, no, insurance does not cover it right now. I'm working because I know that Medicare may have started to cover certain things, so I'm looking more into that so that the patient wouldn't be responsible for, paying.
Yeah.
But right now it's cash pay. But I feel like my fees are not high.
Not at all.
No. I completely agree. I just see that there's so many benefits of it. There's mental health. There's the physical health of it. There's the recovery time can be shortened because you get the right thing when you need it. Right. So there's so many dimensions to it that it really it would be very helpful and for insurance to cover it too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like it should be covered. It's unique. I do some things for Thrive magazine in Canada.
Okay.
And Jeff Thiessen said he's never heard of this, what I do, the coaching.
More people need to know.
He said it's so valuable, but he never heard of it before. And he's a Paralympian, editor of the magazine. He's been all over. And he said this is the first time he ever, heard of coaching.
Yeah,
so,
we need more coaches, Lynn. And we want all the business to go to Lynn, but eventually, in an ideal world, everyone would have a coach, right? And I think one of Sharon's points was spot on, which is, well, they're all good points, Sharon, but I think this one's really important to highlight, is your recovery time could be shorter because you're getting the services you need, right? You're asking the questions. Right. So what an amazing point, Sharon. Now, I want to say to everyone, this was a fast hour. We're coming up on the end of our webinar already. If you want to ask a question of Lynn DeCola, Amputee Coach, now is your time. And as we're doing that, Lynn, I would love to know from your perspective if there's any other kind of comments or things that you want us to know, kind of as we're getting ready to wrap up and as we're looking to see if anyone else has any other questions.
Well, I just want to say that, how valuable it is for peer support, lived experience. And how valuable it is for amputees not to compare themselves to others because we're all different.
Yes.
We lose our limbs in different ways. We have different support systems at home. So that's a couple of things. I just want to mention also for our support teams, because there was a question about that, I'm trying to find it here. About caregivers. I don't know if there's any caregivers that are here or going to be, listening. But it's like, I just want to say thank you to them. And it's like sometimes I just want them to understand that amputees, when they're going through this, we become different people, and I want them to be patient and understand that sometimes, we're thankful, but then we're also resentful. And that's part of a mental health thing. It's not us. Sometimes we don't even understand we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I know that happened to me in the past. And I've seen other amputees and their, support people going through that. So I just want them to know that they are appreciated, even though sometimes, we're learning new things. Like I was talking about, even coming home to your house. Now have to navigate your house in a different way that's safe. So, I just want to give thanks to them.
Yeah, great. Thank you for saying that, Lynn. And lots of people are asking how to get in contact with you. We do have all of Lynn's contact information, her website in the chat. But Lynn, maybe you or someone else who has it, if you want to share it again in the chat while we're grabbing Deb's question, that would be helpful too. And I'll say of, Deb, as you're coming off of mute, here at Amputee Aid, we find coaching to be a very valuable service. So if you are struggling financially, Lynn's prices are reasonable. And if I had my way, she would increase them, but I'm not going to tell her what to do. Okay. But please reach out to us. Okay. Because that is a valuable service and we'd love to help you. We don't have any professional connection with Lynn. We just adore her service and find it to be valuable. Okay. Deb, what did you have to say?
Thank you for covering Lynn, that way, financially helping people pay for her. If you do go out there and you find a coach, maybe if there may be one in your area, please make sure that they do not work for a company that makes
a profit.
Prostheses. Sorry. Yeah, profit. Because that's where their mindset is. That's where their value or their interest is going to be within that company making money, not within taking care of the amputee. Yeah. Lynn is very humble to work with. She is extremely reasonably priced, and she puts the amputee first. Whatever amputation she has, she really puts that first. So if you do find another coach, fabulous, especially if they're in your area, you can do, face to face, but just make sure that they don't work for a prosthetic company.
Yeah. Lynn, any comments on that? I'm hearing neutrality is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we talked about this when we first met, Jennifer. Yeah. And Emily, we talked about it. It's like I don't connect myself with any companies, that I could be totally neutral and really give good advice, from the heart.
Yes. Yep. And that's the most fair and practical thing for all of your clients or the people that you're working for. We don't want anyone to question what's the true motivation. For you, Lynn, it sounds like, and this is where we started, and this I think is a really beautiful note to end on. For you, it sounds like the motivation is helping people, and so they don't feel the feelings you felt of being alone and not having those resources. It sounds like to me, Lynn, that was your driving motivation and how you operate now.
It is, and I have to tell you, having the traumatic brain injury, I didn't realize that I was treating myself by helping others. Yeah. Helping other amputees. Yeah. All of my time I was either working with amputees or on the side while I was working, I was volunteering, giving advice. So that all comes from, self-treating. Yeah. Yeah. What a remarkable hour that we've had with you, Lynn. And I knew we were going to learn a lot, but we learned so much more than I was expecting, about your personal background and really what motivated you to do what you do. And thank you for sharing that and also being vulnerable with it. I think that's really important. It says a lot about you in addition to all of your amazing credentials that Emily and you told us about, is what motivated you to get into this work. It just goes to show you one person saying, come and see what I do, right? Let's try something different. And how much that, and all of you have the power to do that for someone else in your community. So thank you, Lynn. A round of applause for Lynn for joining us as our guest speaker today. And I hope this is one of many conversations that we have with you, because we know we can learn so much for you and so can the community that we serve. Thank you. Look at all the claps going. I love that. If you want to know more, amputees preparing amputees for life, Lifelong Prosthetics, social media information and website information is in the chat. And for our folks on TikTok and on YouTube, we'll include that with our recording on Friday. Lynn, before we get to our drawings, we got to give away the coffee. All right. Awkward transition. We're going to give away some coffee now. Anything that you'd like to say in closing, Lynn? I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
You have no idea. Just to get my information out, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. We appreciate you even more. I can tell you that for a fact. We learned so much from Lynn. So thank you very much for being in our arsenal of resources. Thank you. Look at all the hearts and thumbs up going up. I love that. Okay. So like I said, awkward transition. Now let's give away some stuff. All right. Emily's got all the names of the folks who attended live. And Lisa's already manifesting it. Did you see that coffee emoji go up on her screen? All right. Let's see who's winning. We'll do more of these. We've got a whole bunch of coffee to give away. But let's see who's going to win the first gift basket from Purity Coffee.
All right. And also a little hint. I'm coming up on Lynn DeCola's one of her Zooms. So I'll be coming up as a guest speaker if you'd like to tune in and see that.
That's right.
Learn about social workers and how they can help you. Yeah.
All right. And our winner is Tracy McCharles.
Tracy, congratulations. Ta-da. All right, Tracy, I have your email information, so I'll email you and we can get in contact so we can figure out where to ship this. Hopefully you drink coffee. If you don't, give it away. Re-gift it. Nobody will know. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, everyone. We are going to do a bonus week of Prosthetics 101 month next Wednesday with Caroline Calabrese from Union OP, a bonus session, 90 minutes. If you can stick around for an extra half an hour next Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, please do. Caroline will be here live in our studio with all kinds of things for us to look at and learn about, okay? So please come and join us. Watch for the flyer. It's always the same Zoom link. We'd love to see you back here next Wednesday, 2 o'clock Eastern time on Zoom and TikTok. Until then, thank you, Lynn, for gracing us with your expertise and information. Thank you all for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of the week. Have a wonderful beginning of next week. We'll see you back here next Wednesday with Caroline Calabrese from Union OP. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining Life Amplified. Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer.